Every morning the world starts quietly, one soft light at a time. Homes flicker awake, shops open. People take those first small steps into a brand new day. And in all of that ordinary movement, there's something kind of extraordinary. A moment worth noticing, a spark you feel before you even name it. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's small, but kindness shows up right on time. And every morning we choose to show up with you so we can look for that spark together.
Good morning. I'm Matt Roof, the Uncommon Kindness Guy, and this is Kindness Rising. Let's rise together.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Most teams think commitment. What the hell is going on with my camera today? Okay, whatever. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Kindness Rising. I'm Matt Roof, the Uncommon Kindness Guy, and I come here every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. to help you get up with a little hope, a little humanity, and a little heart. Most teams think commitment doesn't mean consensus. It doesn't. Consensus says, let's start over. What the hell is going on? What a morning already. Things got a little messed up last night. All right, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Trying to get a little straightened out live on camera. That's okay. Good morning and welcome to Kindness Rising. I am glad you've joined me here as I come here every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern on Kindness Rising as part of the Mornings in the Lab Network. Most teams think commitment means consensus, but it doesn't. Consensus says everyone agrees. Commitment says we're aligned, even if we debated and didn't necessarily agree. You don't need unanimity to move forward. You need clarity, because when teams avoid healthy conflict, they never reach clarity. And without clarity, commitment becomes compliance. And guess what? Compliance is fragile. If you don't want a fragile team, make sure you're working towards commitment. Welcome to Kindness Rising. Join me, say hello in the chat, just like Roseanne Roof, my mother, said, and we'll get
This
going.
is Kindness Rising.
All right, everyone. I'm Matt Roof, and I come here every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. And this week, we've been building a pyramid of dysfunction so we can overcome those dysfunctions and get to function. And right at the base of that pyramid is our word of the week: trust. Trust. From the 5 dysfunctions of a team. There it is up on the screen. I won't read it to you, but we'll talk about the fact that trust creates safety. Safety allows healthy conflict, and healthy conflict sharpens clarity. Today, we're going to talk about what happens next, the commitment, right here in 5 dysfunctions of the team that fell off of my table, but I picked it back up and now it's upside down. What? Patrick Lencioni, the author of this book, he explains that when teams don't engage in unfiltered debate, they struggle to commit, not because they don't care, but because they're not clear. That's what we're talking about today, clarity. Lack of commitment doesn't look dramatic. It looks like hesitation. I know you've all been in meetings or had conversations with people that look like this. Let's circle back. Let's revisit this later on down the line. Let's stop and gather more data. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes data is wisdom, but sometimes it's used as a shield. When teams haven't fully debated the options, what the positives, the pros and cons, of different choices, then they hedge, they delay, they avoid locking in, and momentum dead in the water. Why do things take so long sometimes in organizations? This is why. I'm not committed, so let's circle back. Let's think about that. Let's revisit it because we don't want to have healthy debate. Get it over with, have the discussion, make sure that everybody is heard, and we're going to talk about that down the line. And yeah, and get it over with. Have that commitment, building commitment. Melissa Pearson, good morning. Adam Holroyd, good morning. I am glad you are here. I don't know what any of that means, high official, but welcome in to Kindness Rising. We don't really talk about the political situation here, except as how it relates to what our topic is for the day. And today's topic is why healthy conflict creates commitment. Healthy conflict. Here's the paradox. The more vigorously a team debates, has that discussion, has it out, the faster they can get to commitment. Because when you don't have the debate, it ends up in, well, let's put this off to the side. Someone figures out a way to drag and delay the whole thing because they didn't feel heard or their idea didn't win and they're so tied to their ego and their idea winning. Commitment isn't about getting your way, though. It's about making sure that your voice is heard. And as leaders, it's our job to make sure that voices are heard within our teams, within our world. When I've had the chance to push back, I can ask questions and challenge assumptions. Then I can align behind a decision. But when decisions are made politely, without friction, or just the opposite, when decisions are made completely heavy-handedly, right? People leave the room unsure, uncommitted to what's going on, and uncertainty, unpredictability, uncertainty, and lack of understanding of where we're going together, that's going to kill your execution every single time. Thank you all for joining me here at Kindness Rising as we continue to get up and get after it every day, all week long, using the text. You don't have to have read it, but I'm just talking about it. The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni, a book that I was introduced to about 10, 15 years ago. It's actually now a classic work of business. And you can debate, we can have discussion about what's missing from this. No one theory is complete, but the point is it triggers the conversation and gets you thinking about dysfunction within your teams. Not only that, but and I'm not getting paid to promote this book. I'm not an official certified facilitator of this program, which exists out there in the world. I'm talking about real world work that I've done with this book on my own, with my teams. And I'm talking about from my experience and my expertise of 30 plus years in working in team-based environments in the healthcare industry. So just want to make sure that's clear. I encourage everyone to read this book. It's a fantastic read. It's an easy, quick read. It starts with the story of Fable. And I promise you, if you've ever been on any team of any kind, you will relate to some of the characters in this book. It's a quick read, and then it gets into the model. It's not all academic or whatever the case may be. As a matter of fact, probably 85% of this book is the story of a new CEO who comes into a team that is completely dysfunctional. And I promise you, you will have seen some of those characters in your life as I read through it. I reread it every once in a while based on where I've been and who I've been with. And I'm like, oh my God, that's this person. I forgot. Yeah, that's this person. Yeah, this is how you help. It's very, very helpful. I promise you, it is worth the read. And just tons of information about it on the internet because it's been around for so long. All right, but I do want to switch gears. I want to switch gears for just 1 second and talk about something else that's happening in the world because it's just so exciting, and it is what my world is all about. Hello, Elizabeth Brussel. I am glad you're here. Thank you for joining us here on Kindness Rising. I think I said hello to Melissa Pearson and Adam Holroyd and Roseanne Roof and High Official and all you people that are out there. Get involved in the chat. Talk about your teams, how you've led teams, maybe what you've learned about trust and about gaining commitment from teams. I'd love to hear your perspective. I'm not just here to ramble for a half an hour every day without some interaction, because we're building a community of people that care, of people who want to multiply kindness and unlock growth for themselves and for other good people who are doing good work. That's why this show exists and why I come here every day. But I'm going to switch gears to something a little less academic and a little bit more practical and a little bit more contemporary. You guys watching the Olympics? I hope so, because there's been some amazing things that have happened all, are we 2 weeks? I don't even know how far we're in. But it's been amazing to watch. And of course, right now, it's really, really heating up in my favorite part of the Winter Olympics. Anyone who's come here more than once probably knows that ice hockey is my jam. It's my world. And holy crap, I'll say it. Holy crap. What happened in the men's ice hockey yesterday was a masterclass in team trust under pressure. Both the United States men's national hockey team and the Canadian men's national hockey team won their quarterfinals in dramatic fashion yesterday. Team USA versus Sweden is already being called an instant classic, with my boy Mika Zibanejad on the Swedish team, even though I'm a Team USA fan, but Mika from the New York Rangers scored a late goal to tie the game, went into overtime, late game pressure, overtime intensity, and the moment that mattered most, the execution, not just the skill, but trust. And Canada faced something even more destabilizing and crazy, with the loss of huge shockwaves around the NHL and the hockey world right now, with Sidney Crosby going down with a major injury, and some people are saying potentially career ending at his age. I mean, what the man has accomplished has been unbelievable. And not only that, I'm not a Sidney Crosby fan on the ice because he plays for a rival team of mine. I'm a New York Rangers fan. He's a Pittsburgh Penguins guy. They're rivals. But Sidney Crosby, there is no doubt the impact that he's had on the sport. I'm going to take a little side trip too here with Sidney Crosby, because it's all about kindness. Kindness for Sidney Crosby. Here's a really cool story about Sid. So he's won a couple Stanley Cups, and we all know that the guys get to use the pick the cup. They get it for a day. Go somewhere. I think I showed last week or a couple of weeks ago. Sam Bennett was known as one of the toughest guys on the ice for the Florida Panthers, bringing the Stanley Cup to a cat shelter, a cat adoption center. And this is the story of Sidney Crosby and the cup. So Sid goes to a children's hospital with his teammates and with his crew or whatever, and they go through, and it's such an amazing, happy time. He says to somebody, "Is there anything else we can do with this? Can we take it somewhere else?" "Yeah, there's a veterans hospital down the road." "Okay, let's go over there with it." They get in there, and they say, someone who he's meeting with says, "Oh my gosh, you got to meet Billy. Billy's a huge ice hockey fan. Please go see him." But he's blind and he's suffering right now. He's near the end of his life. He's a vet, and he would love to see this. So Sid gets up there to see, I say Billy. I don't remember the guy's name. See Billy, and Billy says, "Oh, this is great, Sidney. I'm so glad you brought me here, but I'm a Montreal Canadiens fan." And instead of Sidney giving it to him about the Canadiens or the Pittsburgh Penguins, he said, "Who was your favorite player?" And the old guy, Korean War vet, says, "Maurice the Rocket Richard." And Sidney, I have seen video of it, taking the blind man's hand and tracing with his finger on the Stanley Cup Maurice Richard's name, whose name is on the cup like 6 or 8 times. Of course, they've won so many of those Stanley Cups. But that's the story of leadership and of humanity that Sidney Crosby brings. And even though I don't like him on the ice, I have to honor and respect that, right? That wasn't the point of this. I don't know how I got off on that. All right, Melissa, I'm glad you joined. Thank you. Thank you for joining with kindness. Cannot wait to have you. Not next week, the week after. Melissa Pearson Goodwin is going to be my guest talking about putting the human back into human resources. And Mike Sullivan, good morning. Thanks for coming out like you did. Overtime slidey ice game is best. Fee, all right. Welcome, Fee. Fee.1, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am glad you are here. Slide rock on ice game. Yeah, I think you're talking about curling. Curling is fun. Ice bocce, I call it. But ice hockey is my thing. And so getting back to the original point. Wow, I am on a tangent today. When a leader falls in the biggest tournament in the world, like what happened in Sidney Crosby's case, doubt can creep in really fast. Who's going to step up? Who's going to take control? Does the room tighten? Do we just lay down now that our leader is gone? No. Instead, Canada rallied. They leaned into each other. They trusted the system. They trusted the mission, and they won in overtime as well. 2 quarterfinal games. The 2 ice hockey powerhouses in the world, the United States of America and Canada, winning their quarterfinal games in very dramatic fashion. And they haven't gotten there yet. They both have one more hurdle to accomplish in the semifinals, with the U.S. Playing against the Slovakia team, and Canada against the Czechia team before the probably inevitable showdown of the U.S. versus Canada for the Olympic medal for the first time in 12 years. Here's the thing. High pressure environments, they don't rise to your talent. High pressure environments, they don't rise to your talent. And rather you fall to your trust. I don't know if that makes sense. But these teams came together quickly. Different NHL clubs, different systems, and different personalities, and yet aligned and formed fast through trust, because trust accelerates cohesion, and healthy teams don't avoid that adversity. They absorb it, they distribute it, they let go of their ego, and they protect their mission. So regardless of who wins the gold medal, it's going to be the U.S. Probably not. Actually, Canada is just unbelievable, even without Sid. The real lesson is this: pressure reveals whether a team is built on talent alone or on trust, and trust is what turns every overtime into an opportunity. Thanks for joining here on Kindness Rising this morning. Mike Sullivan, Fee, Elizabeth Brussel. Who else is out there? Tell me what's going on. What are you watching on the Olympics? What do you love? Where are you seeing trust displayed in the Olympics? Tell me more about what you're thinking. And I'm going to shift here for a second into my coffee and then into the practical. How to make people feel heard, because as a leader, that's our role. That is our role in a team, making sure that there is commitment. And the way you make sure that there's commitment is by making sure that everyone within the team is heard, even if we don't take their idea or we don't, we have healthy debate about it. Cheers. So here's practical skills that can turn debate into real commitment, because hearing someone and making someone feel heard, not the same thing. People don't need their idea to win. They really don't. They need to know that it mattered and that somebody listened to it, right? What does that look like? What does that look like in reality? Active listening. Practically, here's what it is. Here's an idea. How about you reflect back what you heard? Say, let me make sure I understood your concern. Not to defend, not to counter, just to confirm. Right? Confirm that you understand what people are saying. Sully, I'm going to stop here because I noticed you mentioned miracle. Whoo! That is the best. The Miracle film. We love it here in our house from the 1980. Oh yeah, I did recommend it, didn't I? It's fun, right? It's a good movie. Stories that you didn't really know about. Kurt Russell's performance in that, his speeches, and I love it. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. All right. So I said we're going to reflect back what we heard. Then we're going to name the value. There's value in every single person's input if we really listen to it. A lot of times people's ideas get cast off, right? Because the leader or whoever's involved already has their mission, their ideas so cemented in their head and so attached to their ego and identity that they don't listen to that input with true value. Saying things like, that's an important risk you just identified, or that's a helpful perspective. I'm glad you raised that. Even if you disagree, it's good. I'm glad you raised that because I respect you. Now, certainly we can debate whether that idea is good or this idea is good and how it comes to agreement, but it's about that respect that builds dignity. Third, explain the decision path. If their idea isn't used, don't just move on, acknowledge it. Bob, here's what you said. Here's why we're going in a different direction. Because clarity creates closure, and people can move forward with that understanding that they've been heard. And last and most important, as far as I'm concerned, is separating that idea from that person. No one idea is an entire person. Just because I've said this before. My father used to say this all the time, Mom, ears up on this one, right? Sometimes smart people do dumb things. Sometimes smart people say dumb things, right? But the idea is you're separating the idea or the thought from the person. We're deciding against this option, not we're deciding against you, right? That distinction, that builds safety and locks in alignment with one simple question. Can you support this decision? Are we aligned even if it wasn't your recommendation? That question completes the loop. When people feel heard, they don't need to win, they just need to belong, and belonging creates the buy in. Thanks for joining here on Kindness Rising. I am glad you are all here. Say hello in the chat, whether you have something to say about trust, about clarity, about consensus, about the Olympics, about what you're doing in life, whatever it is. All I care is that you come here every weekday morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern, and join me for a little hope, humanity, and heart. Get up with a little bit of positivity, getting on the right side, getting up on the right side of the bed. As we say, more high fives for humanity, right? Less rage bait, because hey, listen, none of us knows a thing. I said this to a friend yesterday. The truth of the matter is, no matter how much we know, we don't know a thing. And we're all idiots. So why not be kind in the grand scheme of the world, right? We're all idiots. Be kind. That's actually a refrigerator magnet that my sister gifted to me. We're all idiots. So why not just be kind? Love that. All right. Thanks for joining here on Kindness Rising. Keep coming back. I appreciate you. And don't forget to keep hanging out with us on the Mornings in the Lab Network. At 8 o'clock, we're going to get on over to Mornings in the Lab with Keith, John, and Friend, where they'll be bringing their unique brand to help us get up and get after it every day. Not hit the snooze button, right? Every time you hit the snooze button, it's 9 minutes that you're behind the guy, the person, whoever that didn't hit the snooze button, and that adds up. Get up, get involved in the conversation over there. morningsinthelab.live, or you can join on YouTube or X or Facebook, but morningsinthelab.live is the site. All right. get involved, check in, have some daily accountability with the team over there. All right, looping back, back. Oh, this is a good one. I love this part of it. Artificial harmony. You ever been part of a group where it's so clear that it's fake? Everyone's nodding. No one objects. Everyone's looking at their watches. Okay, if I don't say a word, I can get out of here 5 minutes earlier and go bitch about what happened in the meeting and talk about why that person is stupid or that'll never work or whatever the case may be. And the meeting seems to end peacefully, and then nothing changes because people didn't wrestle with the decision. They didn't actually pressure test it. They didn't test it. They may think they did, but they didn't actually test it against. Doesn't make sense because they haven't created an environment where people feel that they can have conflict. Because conflict, once you have conflict, you're going to create conviction. And that conviction, it creates commitment. And commitment, that's going to give you your momentum. And without that, we're just going to drift. So absolutely, let's try to avoid it. Let's be aware, reading the room as a leader for fake commitment versus real commitment. I can't stand when I go into a room as a leader and present an idea and nobody says anything, just goes, okay. No, I know I don't know it all. I need your input. I need you to tell me what did I miss? I have blind spots. I have biases, right? As a leader, that's what we do. We open up that safety valve for people to say what they really think. And how many times I know from my own experience, when I do that, new ideas come out that are variations, innovations, iterations of what we're doing, or a risk is identified and we're able to mitigate it and conquer it related to that by putting a plan together to deal with it. But I didn't know it. That's leadership through commitment, building trust, having conflict, gaining commitment. And tomorrow we're going to continue all the way through to the end of this pyramid, the top, tippity tip top of the pyramid. Results, because that's what matters ultimately, is getting that result. But it does matter how you get there, because the result will be impacted by how you get there. All right, let's loop it back. We're winding down. I can't believe the half hour has blown by. Thank you, every single one of you who joined me here on Kindness Rising. Mike Sullivan, Carol Birdie, absolutely welcome, Aunt Carol. I appreciate you came in right at the last minute. Trusted servants, they do not govern. I agree with that 100%. That is definitely a method or a mentality that I bring to my leadership, servant leadership mentality. I am here to serve you, not to govern. Absolutely. Love that, Aunt Carol. Thanks. Appreciate you. And Carol, you know who I learned that one of those from, right? My own practical experience. One of your good friends, Rose Broderick, huge influence in my life. Thanks to you, Aunt Carol, who connected me with her. She is a trusted servant and who doesn't govern, but definitely knows how to lead. So great lesson and connection there. Okay. Let's loop it back to our 6 strings. Remember, kindness. Kindness is one of our strings, and that allows disagreement without cruelty. Curiosity, that invites exploration without ego. Self-awareness, that prevents defensiveness, right? Keep an eye on how you're feeling. Growth embraces friction, and trust makes it all possible. Commitment is the natural outcome of clarity born from conflict, handled with dignity. So as we wind down here, remember, great teams don't chase agreement. They chase alignment. They debate thoroughly. They decide clearly, and they move decisively, because trust enables conflict. Conflict creates clarity. Clarity builds commitment, and commitment drives the results. Come on back tomorrow. We'll be talking about those results and how dignity keeps everyone moving together. See you tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. And until then, stay uncommon and stay kind.
What if your mornings could be inspiring and ridiculously fun?
Kindness Rising isn't just a show, it's a full wake-up vibe.
It's freaking fun, people.
Yeah, man, it's got real get after it energy.
I love it.
Wake up with Kindness Rising.
I help purpose-driven people grow their impact. 5-ingredient recipe to help you build your personal brand. Get out there and take kind action.
If it's live, they'll feel it.
On Kindness Rising, we bring you proven strategies and fresh ideas you can actually use. If you're not failing, you're not trying.
Exactly. Fail fast, rebound faster.
You'll see the bloopers and the genuine connections that make kindness contagious. We sometimes get into a little bit of trouble.
Pretty much my life made the list.
You can trust what you see right here is honest, respectful, and uplifting. Social impact organizations, and we always talk about them. Try kindness. It's way cheaper than therapy. You just made my day.